Okay, so on the top section here, put your name in the top right-hand corner. And then this is lesson 2.6. The topic is multiply and divide fractions. Notice I didn't write topic again, I just put the actual topic, what it is. Multiply and divide fractions. Today's date is 9, or not 9, wow. 10.
10-4.
It's going by so fast. 10-4-16. And this is period 3. If you want, you could put P3, so you know. And then we have an essential question, so instead of writing essential question, just write EQ. And this is still on the board. How do we multiply and divide fractions? And then you have your fold, right? It's where you folded it. So I just kind of put a line there. Helps me see where I'm going. And then I'll also put a line down the other fold on the left. If you can't draw a straight line, just do a squiggly line. It's fine. Okay, the first thing that we're going to go back and review, we did this a lot the other day, but just a quick problem or two, is multiply fractions. So we're going to put that on the left. And I like to abbreviate, so I'll put mult. Mult fractions. And I'm going to start off with a pretty easy one. So example 1. 2 times negative 3/4. 2 times negative 3/4. And I know in elementary school they said whenever you're multiplying fractions and you have a whole number times a fraction, did they tell you to put a 1?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that you don't have to, but it's kind of helpful for a lot of people. So let's go ahead and put a 1. Okay, and then yeah, a lot of you are seeing already we can cross simplify, can't we? Because 2 goes into 4 how many times?
2.
Good. So 2 goes into 2 once. 2 goes into 4 twice. And now 1 times negative 3 is negative 3. And 1 times 2 is 2. But this is not simplified. So remember 2 goes into 3 once and a half, right? So don't forget the negative. It's negative 1.5. So you did this in elementary, you just didn't have a negative. But it's pretty basic. Okay. Now I know some teachers in elementary called this cross-canceling. Have you heard that term?
Yeah.
Okay, we like to be a little more specific as we get into higher level math, and we call it cross-simplifying. Because they're not really canceling, they're just simplifying to 1, or 2 in this case, right? So just so you guys know if you hear that. We're going to do one with mix. So example 2. And let me pick a little bit challenging one. Okay, so I'm going to do negative 1 7/8 times negative 2 2/5. Okay, in elementary school when you multiplied fractions with mixed numbers, they said turn it into an improper fraction, right?
Yes.
That rule has not changed. Just ignore the negatives, okay, till the end. So to turn this into improper, we do 8 times 1, which is 8, plus 7. What's that? 8 times 1 is 8, plus 7 is?
15.
Okay, but don't forget the negative. So that one's negative 15 over 8. So far, so good? Okay, and now let's change the other one. 2 times 5 is 10, plus 2 is 12. And don't forget the negative. Negative 12 over 5. Now this is good because I see things that cross-simplify. Do you?
Yes.
So let's start with the 5 and 15. How many times does 5 go into 15?
3.
Okay, so change this one to a 1, this one to a 3. And now 8 and 12 can be divided by
2 or 4.
4 is the bigger one, right? So let's go by 4. So this one's 2, And this one is 3. And now we can multiply straight across the top. What's a negative 3 times a negative 3?
3.
9. Positive 9. 2 times 1 is
1, 2.
2. Okay, and then 9 over 2 we know is 4.5, right? And you're finished. Any questions on the mixed? Okay. All right, let's look at dividing. So on the left, right, divide fractions. Example 1 for divide. Let's start off simple. Let's do 1/3 divided by 5. 1/3 divided by 5. So what could I do to that 5? Should I put a 1 under it? Let's do that now. Now we keep the first one, so we have 1/3. We change this to multiply. And what do I do with the 5 over 1? Flip it.
Flip it.
That's called the reciprocal. Good.
KFC.
Now 1 times 1 is
5.
1. 3 times 5 is
15.
good. Finished. Simple problem, right? Okay. So if you get a whole number, just put a 1 under it. That'll help you guys. All right, let's try another one. Example 2. So, I don't know why this is, but a lot of math teachers, including myself, when we give problems on quizzes, we make them kind of basic like this. Maybe because we're feeling nice. Let's make this a negative 1/4 though. So 3/4 divided by negative 1/4. So we have 3/4 times what?
Negative 4 over 1.
Yeah. And now, do you see something very simple?
Yeah.
These 4's become 1's, right? So what's our answer? Negative 3? Negative 3 over 1, which is the same as negative 3. If you left it at negative 3 over 1, it is not incorrect, though. You just don't need to write the 1. Okay, now let's do example 3. This is going to be with a mixed fraction. So I'm going to do negative 3/4 divided by 1.5. Notice I'm still using relatively small integers, right? Nothing crazy here. So we keep the negative 3/4 and then we multiply by what? What do I have to do to this mixed fraction first? Change it to a
Mixed number.
improper.
Improper.
So 2 times 1 is 2 plus 1 is 3, right? So this is 3 over 2. So what should I do when I multiply it? Flip it. Good. Reciprocal. 2 over 3. Now this is nice because look at all these things it'll simplify. You guys see that? So what's going to simplify?
The 3's.
The 3's go to 1's. The 2 and the 4, well the 2 goes to a 1, the 4 goes to a 2. Now on the top I have negative 1's, right? And 2 times 1 on the bottom. And that's my answer. So here's like a little tip, right? If you know the math teachers make these so that they're going to simplify, then a good clue that you're doing something wrong is that it's not cross-simplifying. Do you know what I mean? So you'll get a problem where you're like, wow, this is like 11 and like 12 and nothing's working. You probably forgot to flip it, or you flipped the wrong one, or you did your mixed fraction into improper a little bit wrong, like you added wrong or something. So those are things to check if it's not working out nice and pretty like that. Okay? Any questions? No question? Yeah? Question?
Would you have to reduce that back into a mixed number?
This negative 1/2? No, but if it ended up improper, you would, right?
Yeah.
Like on example 2 up here, it ended up improper, so we put it back to mixed. Yeah, but no, not on that one. That one's already simplified, right? Okay, so I'm going to give you a couple U-tries for the back. At least for me, it's on the back. Okay, you ready? Of course you are. Okay, so on the back, you can go right up to the top, right? You don't really need that margin up there. Okay, so we're just going to put U-try number 1. And remember, if you have the answer, don't say it out loud. Just raise your hand. We're going to start with a multiplying one. So I'm going to do 2/3 times -4. 2/3 times -4. Just raise your hand when you think you know. Okay, 1, 2, 3, what's the answer? That didn't sound very good, did it? Okay, I heard some -2 and something. 2/3. -2 and? 2/3. -2 and?
2/3.
Okay, so those of you who said this are right. And those of you who weren't there yet or didn't say that, I'm going to show you how they got it. Okay? So the 2/3 is fine. Remember, we can put a 1 under the -4. And then I don't have anything to cross simplify, so 2 times -4 is -8. 3 times 1 is 3. 3 goes into 8 2 times with 2 left over, right? But we can't forget about the negative. Any questions on that one? A lot of people forget the negative, and then I mark it wrong on the quiz because I'm mean, right? So don't forget the negative. Okay, let's do one more. You try. And this time we'll do dividing. -5/6 divided by -2/3. I put a parenthesis because sometimes on worksheets you'll see that. It doesn't change the answer, but I just want you to be familiar. So write that down, solve it, and then raise your hand when you think you know the answer. Okay, 1, 2, 3, what's the answer?
-1 and 1/4.
Oh no.
1 and 1/4.
Are you guys hearing a lot of people saying negative?
I mean positive. 1 and 1.
Oh, now we're fixing it. Okay, let's check it out. So we have -5/6 times -3/2. It doesn't matter where you put the negative. Because the negatives are going to disappear, right? A negative times a negative is a positive. Okay, but I could cross simplify. I can take the 3 and make it a 1 and goes into 6 twice. Did you guys see that?
Yeah.
Okay, so negative times a negative, this is just going to be 5, correct?
Yes.
And 2 times 2 is 4. So 4 goes into 5 1 and 1/4 times. Who got that right? You're lying because I heard you say negative.
I fixed it though.
Oh, you fixed it. Okay, we're going to have to do one more because so many people said negative. Last one. 5 divided by 1 1/3. Last one. I promise. 5 divided by 1 1/3. Just raise your hand when you know. Don't say it. This one takes a little bit longer. So I see about 10 hands. Anybody else think they know yet? Okay, after I count to 3, instead of you telling me, I want you to tell your neighbor. You ready? Just tell your neighbor. 1, 2, 3. Well, I heard a lot of different things right now. We better work this out. Okay, look up here. Shh. The first thing I would do is I would put 5 over 1, right?
Yeah.
And then I know I have to turn this into an improper. So 3 times 1 is 3 plus 1 is 4. So this is going to be 4/3.
Oh.
Which means when you multiply it, you have to do the reciprocal. Oh, maybe that's where we went wrong?
No, aren't you supposed to flip that to 4 over 3?
It was 4 over 3. Now it has to be 3 over 4.
I know what I did wrong.
Oh, nothing cross simplifies. So now I have 15 over 4. 4 goes into 15 3 times with 3 left over. Raise your hand if you got that.
I got it.
Not too many people, but good job. Okay. Any questions? Questions, or are you just raising your hand because you got it right?
Oh, no, I got it right.
Any questions?